there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro pay-per-view review series. This is going to be WCW Starrcade 1994. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, December 27th, 1994.
On a Tuesday, I think. I think this was on a Tuesday.
Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, they like to do them during the week back then. So it's fun. I used to
cool,
love
Christmas
the
vacation
series on a Wednesday, though.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a Christmas vacation.
Yeah, sit down, get tormented for 2.5 hours watching this. Yeah, good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. Before the event even started, they showed Mean Gene interviewing the Macho Man Randy Savage on WCW Saturday Night. Savage is looking for Hogan.
He had just signed. Randy had just signed.
And he said he's either going to shake his hand or slap him in the face.
Should have slapped him in the face.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
So, but in any event, we won't see him again until later on in the evening. Also, they showed Hogan receiving and I didn't really agree with any of this. You're trying to say that WWE literally had nobody up for these damn awards.
Bret Hart was the runner-up. Yes, so Hulk Hogan's the PWI Pro Wrestling
1994 Wrestler of the Year.
Wrestler of the Year, and when did he show up? When was Bash at the Beach? July, something like that.
June, July,
around there. Right? Hardly even wrestled. Meanwhile, Bret Hart was putting on great matches the whole year of 1994. And
he co-wins the Rumble. He fights his brother at WrestleMania, wins the title at WrestleMania, fights his brother at SummerSlam in a steel cage.
Right, yeah.
And even though he had a bad match against Bob Backlund, doesn't matter. He fought the entire year. I would have even said, "Where's Owen in this discussion?" Because then I might as well just say it now because it's going to come up later. Jimmy Hart wins Manager of the Year.
How?
Okay. Are there any other managers in WCW we know about besides Sherry?
WWF at the time. I mean, come on. I would have put the guy from Men on a Mission over Jimmy Hart.
Oscar.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that Jimmy's won it since '87.
Right. Well, there's a reason for that. So it was almost like it had to be whoever owned that magazine had to have loved Hogan, and then Hogan said
Bill Apter was obsessed with WCW.
Well, then there you go. There's your answer.
And then the Nasty Boys win Tag Team of the Year.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, I know the Steiners were around a little bit, not in WWE, but they were, overseas and shit. You trying to tell me that the Nasties did better than the Steiners did?
We know the rating system can be manipulated. Some rocky.
Yeah, I think this was, I think this was all manipulated by Bill Apter and Bischoff and whatnot. Because I mean, I don't know. Hogan, half a year.
That's crazy.
So they're pretty much just saying that him facing Flair at Bash at the Beach, that
was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
No, you won Match of the Year, not Wrestler of the Year.
Shouldn't even gotten Match of the Year.
No, shouldn't have.
Bret versus Owen. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Opening match for the night was for the United States title. Hacksaw Jim Duggan defending the U.S. title against Vader.
This is ridiculous too because, all right. So the backstory is Vader had already won the number one contender match. I think it was at Fall Brawl. He had won that
triangle match.
Yeah, so Vader was already the number one contender. So why he basically needs to win another match and get the U.S. title to be the number one contender is completely beyond me.
Well, because they also mentioned it on this night that the U.S. champ is the number one contender, and I'm like,
but Vader won, but he already won it, right?
But now you guys want to recognize the U.S. title as the number one contender.
Right. So Vader tonight should be fighting in the main event. He should be fighting Hulk Hogan for the title. He should be fighting. But we know why. We know why the Butcher is in the main event because that's Hogan's boy, and he used his juice to put him in that spot. We'll get into it later,
and he's also undercover.
Right. Oh God, Jesus. All right. So yeah. So Vader versus Hacksaw.
I don't know, man. Multiple times the refs distracted Harley Race getting involved, attacking Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Vader missing the moonsault on Duggan was a key moment in the match. Duggan hit his 3-point stance and went for the pin, but Race gouges out Duggan's eyes. How the referee's not seeing any of this, I have no idea because it was clear as day.
Vader should just ran over Duggan, though, man. In reality,
this should have been less than 3 minutes. And this was a 12-minute match.
Just to make a statement, just to make a statement. I'm the guy, and I'm going to destroy Hogan. Should have ran him over, but whatever.
So. Now, Vader off the second turnbuckle, Duggan caught him and power slammed Vader. He went for the pin, but the ref is dealing with Harley Race. By this point, I'm the ref. I'm telling Harley, get the hell out of here. Because how many times am I going to be distracted by you in this event. Now Duggan once again goes for the 3-point stance, but Vader, threw him into Race, who hit Duggan with the 2x4, or kind of had the 2x4 up, and Duggan ran into it, and Vader with a kind of a face buster that I don't even know what that was, and he gets the pin. So he wins it kind of cheesy over Duggan when he should have dominated him.
So now he's ranked number one.
Yeah, winning a title he did not need, because you're already going to face the WCW champion.
Yeah, he's like Clubber Lang, basically. He's Clubber Lang here. So that means Hacksaw. If Hacksaw would have won this match, he would have fought Hogan, right?
He should have, because Hacksaw won the U.S. title off of Austin.
I don't know. Well, thankfully that didn't happen.
Because remember, Steamboat has to relinquish the title. Austin gets it back. Duggan's now the challenger. Duggan embarrasses him.
It's crazy, yeah.
And then somehow wins the rematch. And you're right. Where's our Clash of the Champions match? Hogan versus Duggan. Duggan's the only guy that's never turned on Hogan. He should have. In any event, following that, Mean Gene Okerlund interviewed the three faces of fear: the Butcher, Kevin Sullivan, and Avalanche.
And this is the precursor to the Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom, yes. Yeah. Did you notice that when Avalanche came out later on, you're coming out at the name Avalanche, but yet you have an earthquake theme?
He's still doing the Tremors too.
Yeah,
Tremors.
This is where I think they got in trouble with WWE, because it was all earthquake-like, and this is when they the Shark.
The Shark. Oh, Jesus Christ!
First of all, who's coming up with your shit? Because you are.
It was.
This is some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life.
I think it was Sullivan. I did like the tombstone though that they had. That the rest in peace Hulkamania.
Yes. Yeah, Butcher's holding it. Oh. Butcher did pretty well as trying to portray the badass here, but unfortunately they did. It didn't work. It didn't work. It looked good, but it didn't work. So, any event, moving on to the next one. Our next match on the card was Alex Wright versus Jean-Paul Levesque.
Mm-hmm. Triple H.
So we go from terrorizing, that doesn't work. We're going to re-gimmick him, and now all of a sudden you speak French.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is, thank God, the last time you'll see him there, as he will go to WWE shortly after this.
It's a good match, though.
It was. Both men were undefeated at this point. And, they had a really good match. I liked Alex Wright. He was very underrated.
He was a great wrestler, man.
They just didn't do anything with him.
No, bad gimmick.
And then, of course, you're coming up in the time where they're bringing in the bigger guys and the NWO, and you're just going to get buried throughout that entire thing, and you're not going to advance up, unfortunately. Levesque whipped Wright into the corner. Wright climbed the turnbuckle, which put it, and flipped over Levesque. Alex Wright rolled up Levesque when he turned around to get the pin. Alex Wright beats him, and Alex Wright is still undefeated. I thought the ending was a little weak doing that, and Alex Wright not going for his finisher. But before that, these guys, and they fought for about 14 minutes. Mm-hmm. This was a really good match.
Well, it was a fun match.
It deserved a rematch. Unfortunately, Levesque is not sticking around. Because they really had nothing for him. So, in any event, moving on to the next match, which is for the television title. Johnny B. Bad defending the title against Arn Anderson.
Yeah, he was supposed to
be the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, they even advertised in the beginning of the pay-per-view.
And the announcers are coming. All right, wait a minute. This isn't the Honky Tonk Man, because they started playing his music.
They started playing his music, yeah.
And then they cut it out.
Yeah.
Now, the reason for this, and this is something similar to what Honky did in 1988.
Right, but he had juice in 98. I'm sorry, in 88. He had juice in 88.
In 88, yes.
Yeah.
Honky Tonk Man was fired by Eric Bischoff only days prior to the event. Reason why is he refused to put Johnny B. Bad over.
Yeah. And
so Eric said, all right, no problem. You're fired.
Yeah. At first, he said he had to call his wife. He had to ask his wife if he could put him over or not. What should he do? He had no juice back then, and he was on one of these like pay per appearance contract. He wasn't on a long term deal. He was getting paid per appearance. I don't know who he thought he was at that point. You
just got here and you're already going to do this. Your name means nothing here.
Right, and he was friends with Hogan too, so I'm kind of surprised that he would pull a stunt like that with
unless Hogan wasn't made aware of it.
I don't know, but he pulled a stunt, and Bischoff hated him anyway, so Bischoff said, "See ya."
And we got to agree. Remember, the Clash prior to this, they had the whole music video for Honky Tonk Man.
Right, and the thing was, from what I understand, he was supposed to put him over, but then Johnny B. Bad was gonna return the favor and then put Honky over. and he was going to get the belt, but he didn't want to put him over this one night. So I got to agree with Bischoff this time. Bischoff.
I got to agree too, because you're coming in and you're automatically think you can run the show.
Yeah,
I'm like, this isn't WWE.
1988.
You had clout back then with Vince,
right?
Because you were the IC champion.
Great heel. Yeah, he was a big heel at that time.
Yeah, and you were a draw, and Vince. I'm surprised Vince back then didn't fire him when he said, "I'm not putting Savage back over for the title." Vince just had a better idea. Okay, fine, I'll make him world champion.
Make him the world champion. Yeah.
But here it's like, no, I'm not going to do it. All right, then you don't work here anymore.
See you.
Bye. So Arn Anderson
not going to work here anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're out. So now, of course, during the match, Anderson rolled up bad for the pin, but had his feet on the ropes. The referee saw it, stopped the count. Thank God. Now, Arn Anderson is a multi-time television champion. This was pretty much his title back in the late 80s, early 90s. So he's wanting this title back. Unfortunately, when the ref stopped the count at that point, Anderson thought he won the match. Had his hands raised and everything, and Johnny B. Bad rolled him up and got the pin and kept and retained the television title. So this feud's not over, not by a long shot. So following that, like I had mentioned earlier, Tony announced that the Nasty Boys won Tag Team of the Year and showed the ceremony with Bill Apter. Like I said, Bill Apter was heavy with the NWA and WCW, so it's no wonder that they did this. And PWI was also very much heavy with WCW as well. So, because I always thought some of the rankings back then were some of them were a little off. So, next on the card was the Nasty Boys versus Harlem Heat. Now, for this match, prior to Starrcade, Harlem Heat won the WCW Tag Team titles. However, the match had not been broadcast yet, so they couldn't be presented the titles
on
just
TV.
Yet.
Right, yeah. Because that used to happen. They would do these house shows or whatever, TV tapings.
Yeah,
and they hadn't aired them yet. Yeah.
So they have to wait before they can claim their tag team titles. But for the moment, this is just a straight up 2-on-2 tag team match. Which again, these two teams with their feud did not disappoint. It was very good. All of them were well done. Their street fights, everything they've done. And what's funny is Booker, I really think thought that this was a street fight because at one point him and Sags are fighting down the aisle.
They mentioned it was like a New York City street fight.
Yeah,
because Harlem Heat is supposedly from Harlem, they're not. Nasty Boys supposedly from New York, they're not.
No, or even Philly, and they're not. So Booker and Sags took it back to the ring. Now this is where it got a little funny. Stevie Ray holding bride knobs. Okay, we all know where this is going. We've seen it 1,000,001 times. Sherry accidentally sprays something in Stevie Ray's face.
Yeah, I think Sherry had just linked up with Harlem Heat at the time, right? I think she had just she had just linked up with them.
And I loved her with.
She was awesome. She was awesome.
That was
Sherry?
Perfect for her. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The dresses she wore, the attitude she had,
she pulled it off.
Perfect for that team. Yes.
Absolutely.
There's your manager of the year. But she just started. Knobs hit the nasty elbow drop from the top rope on Booker T. Then Sherry now tries to go off the top rope, splashes Booker T by accident. She is not doing well here on this evening. And this is where Harlem Heat got disqualified. So it's a good thing they're not the tag team champions yet because, with losing this match, the Nasty Boys went on a disqualification. After the match, the Nasty Boys got a hold of Sherry and gave her the pit stop, which I loved it. That's what you get trying to interfere in their match. And, of course, that feud's not over yet either. And once again, after that, like I mentioned before, they showed Bill Apter giving Sting the 1994 Most Popular Wrestler Award. And I can dispute this, but not as much as I did the other three. It is possible that he was the most popular.
94?
It's a close race, I would say, between him and Brett.
Yeah.
But I think I can honestly say that.
Yeah, I'm
okay with this one. Just the other three were a little like. So you're telling me WCW just unanimously won all of these things over WWE? Okay. In any event, the next match on the card was Mr. T versus Kevin Sullivan. Wow.
What the hell? This was a disaster.
It was, and he comes out dressed like a referee.
Why?
I don't know. I thought he looked like he was going to ref the match.
Right.
I don't know what's going on here.
What was that about?
But I mean, and even during the match, also Santa Claus comes down the aisle.
His hands get stuck in the shirt. He can't get it off.
And then at one point, Tony Schiavone said that he was going to pin the cameraman because he was laying on top of him.
What was going on? This was a mess.
They kind of trashed Mr. T a little bit during this match. Tony did. I caught the attitude, which was probably just.
They were probably annoyed. They're like, "What is this guy doing here?" Not for nothing. I mean, this is 1994. Mr. T was not at the peak of his popularity.
Not like he was in '85.
Not even close. Not even close. The A-Team's been canceled for years. I guess because he's Hogan's friend, and Hogan had already brought him in, right? Because wasn't he the referee?
He was brought in. That's the whole thing. Hogan was able to give him another chance.
Right.
And just like in WWE, Mr. T did not do. They were disappointed in him.
I think it was Halloween Havoc.
This match was just. I mean, the highlight of the night. Jimmy Hart gives Santa Claus, who's Dave Sullivan, the megaphone. And Dave hits Kevin with the Santa pack, which has the megaphone in it, and Mr. T gets the pin. I wouldn't have even gotten Mr. T over in this match. I would have had Kevin Sullivan do it because of how bad Mr. T was in this match. And then, of course, after the match, Kevin attacked Dave and gave him a pile driver in the ring. So the feud between the brothers isn't over.
You bet.
But this whole it was only a 3-minute 50-second match, but it felt like
too long. 3 minutes 50 seconds too long. Terrible.
Yeah, seriously.
One of the worst matches I've ever seen. It's terrible.
Next, Mean Gene had interviewed Hulk Hogan about everything that was going on later that night and everything. Blah, blah, blah. Moving on. We don't need to hear from him. And then, of course, like I said, Bill Apter was Manager of the Year. Jimmy Hart hadn't won it since '87. Yeah,
don't
great.
Know, don't know.
Good for you.
I put Harvey Wimpleman over him. But anyway.
Oh, God. I don't go that far. So, next on the card, we had Sting versus Avalanche with the Earthquake theme. He's doing everything Earthquake, but he's named Avalanche. I didn't mind the name Avalanche. I thought it was
I didn't either. I always liked him.
You just didn't have anything like portrayed like that. That's when I thought maybe, okay, Shockmaster thing never worked a year prior to this. Would have they considered bringing the natural disasters back?
Right,
together?
They should have in some sort of a new form, yeah.
Just call them something else. And the way they like to name people, I can only imagine what garbage they would have given them. But I thought maybe that might have been good for him, for both of them, and the tag team division. Dungeon of Doom's got a legitimate tag team. But no, we're not going to do that. Now, during this match, I guess Sting thought he was Hulk Hogan at first because he tried to slam Avalanche. That wasn't working. Does get him later on, though.
Mm-hmm.
But now, instead of going for his finisher, Avalanche decides to pose, which I don't understand that. Instead of going for his Earthquake, sitting on him or whatnot. Sting was able to get to his feet, drop kicked Avalanche into the corner, squashing the referee. This was funny.
How did Sting not see the ref? I don't understand that.
Dude, we see so many ridiculous things with the referees that it's not even funny.
He's right there. Sting knows that he's behind Avalanche, and he just...
I saw one worse than that when I just finished watching the next one, Starrcade '95. I'm not going to get into it, or I don't remember what match it was. But I saw something that Nick Patrick just did that was totally worse than this. But yeah, how do you not see him?
Right there.
And then of course the referee's kind of moving into the corner
so he can get squashed.
Yeah. So then the Stinger splash, and then he body slammed him. Unfortunately, when he put the Scorpion Deathlock on Avalanche, Kevin Sullivan came in. Then there was the Avalanche drop. Hogan eventually came down with a chair, cleared the ring. Sting wins by disqualification.
Which Hogan shouldn't even be coming out. Save Hogan. He's already had a promo. Save him for the main event that he's in. There's no reason to bring him out.
Coming up next.
Right. There's no reason to bring him out again. There's no reason.
Unfortunately, there's nobody else that would save him.
No, but just leave Sting there. Leave Sting there like that and build to the next rematch or whatever you want to do. By the way.
That's what are you gonna do? So now on to our main event, which is for the WCW title: Hulk Hogan versus the Butcher.
The Butcher, the Booty Man,
the whole Masked Man thing. With starting at the Clash of Champions, where Hogan comes out, he gets
there were two.
Knee.
There were two Masked Man. One of them was Arn Anderson, I believe.
That was clear. The whole time I'm thinking they really love to do this Masked Man and garbage at Starrcade. Because remember the whole Black Scorpion nonsense?
They didn't learn. This was horrible. Think about this. This is Starrcade. And
this is your WrestleMania.
And then Beefcake is in the main event versus Hogan. Beefcake
at this point in '94, where he's kind of out of the prime.
Right. No, his best gimmick was a disciple. In
Which
WCW.
One? NWOs or Warriors?
A One Warrior Nation. No. NWO. He was the bodyguard.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was fine in that role.
He looked pretty good, badass.
Right. He looked in great
shape
for what it was. He looked completely different for what it was. But either way, this was horrible. Horrible.
He shouldn't have been in the main event. I mean, he looked, like I said earlier, the gimmick looked good, but the execution was way off.
No. It's just Hogan helping his boy.
You know, he comes to the ring with Sullivan and Avalanche. I love when Michael Buffer is doing the announcing. When it came to Hogan, he says "King of Hulkmania."
He said that before too. Yeah, he is the king of Hulkmania.
Hulk Buffer, Hulk up. All right, don't matter. Just go sit down and collect your $3 million you just got for doing this. Now, Bockwinkel sent Sullivan and Avalanche to the back, which is just because this is going to be a 3-on-1 match here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Plus, Bobby Heenan said up until this point, we have not seen Macho Man Randy Savage, which is, we know now when we're going to see him, is some point during this match, if not at the end. Now, during this match, Butcher, went to use a chair, but Jimmy Hart took it from him. Hogan used the chair multiple times. The referee does nothing. How is this not a disqualification and we're going home?
But you know what's funny is that Hogan was actually having trouble with him. Like, I know he's trying to make his boy look good and make him look like a threat, but I'm like, how the hell is Hogan having trouble with the Butcher?
If you can't work with him, then...
Right. How are you going to beat Vader? How are you going to beat Vader if you're getting...
Exactly, if you can't work with the Butcher. But... now, Butcher at one point applied the sleeper hold to Hogan. Here's the other time they messed up. Hogan's arm dropped 3 times.
It did. He lost the match, yeah.
And the ref let it go because he dropped it, then puts it back up and does the.
But he dropped it. He dropped it. It
was over.
Yeah, it was over. Yeah.
Butcher's the world champion.
And then Butcher's like he thinks he won. But then I guess he was going to try to pin him. After the fact.
Then Hogan's playing possum. Right. He gets up, and then drops back down. Right. This is where it's stupid. Right. I can't fathom the fact that his arm dropped 3 times and you have not rang the bell.
Right, it was over.
Even though you screwed up, you still got to do this. You guys figure it out in the production meeting after this.
I don't know, man.
How are we coming back from this? Instead, no, we're just going to lay it out there, and even the fans are looking at each other, going,
right.
What did we just see? Of course, by this point, Butcher couldn't get the pin.
Because he pins him. Yeah, he pins him.
Sullivan and Avalanche came down, but it wasn't enough for a disqualification. They didn't get their hands on Hogan. Hogan drops the leg, gets the pin on Butcher.
Yeah, after he had sent them flying and just...
Yeah. Hogan successfully defends the title, but now you've got the 3 faces of fear in the ring against you. And here comes Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was funny because now Savage is on their side. He's shaking their hands. Sullivan's going nuts. Like he just met his childhood idol.
Sullivan was funny, though. He was funny.
Beefcake's looking at him like, I remember SummerSlam, buddy.
This is WWF reunion, yeah. WWF reunion.
You got Earthquake, you got Beefcake, you got, unfortunately, Macho Sullivan. Man. Yeah, you got Macho Man. And I didn't catch this until they showed the replay, but
when he showed
Savage takes the glasses off and signals Hogan.
He tells Hogan, he's on his side.
I got you.
Yeah. Because you think he's going to attack him.
Yeah, he elbows Butcher. Then he goes right after Avalanche. They clear the ring.
This turns out to be a big mistake because had Macho Man just slapped Hogan like he had sort of threatened to do, it would have saved him so many problems over the next year and a half dealing with the dungeon. This was a huge mistake by Macho Man.
And Macho couldn't get in the ring at this point, I believe. He could only appear.
I think he was he still in the no complete? I don't remember when the no compete ends, but
because then I could even have said that if they'd done this a little earlier, prior, he could because he just got there. So I think
he was rusty
still
too.
No compete close.
But he was rusty. You got to remember he's rusty too. He hadn't really wrestled a lot in '94, so
this is true.
Yeah,
because I think the last thing he did was a house show over the summer prior to WrestleMania.
Right.
Because they had him doing commentary, which was ridiculous. But anyway, Mean Gene, now is in the lock. Now, Tony Schiavone says the Mega Powers are back together, which I thought was funny. They are. Don't need to be. Savage is going to get into a lot of crap that Hogan caused. That's now his problem, and he doesn't need it. Now, the whole time in the locker room, I'm waiting for somebody to show up. But in the meantime, we get, Mean Gene in the locker room, surrounded by superstars, mind you.
Yeah, Nasty Boys are weird as baby faces, right?
They are. They're so much better as heels.
Yeah, much better as heels.
Yes. They're getting ready to interview Hogan and Savage, and they do. Then who charges in but Vader? This is what awesome. To me this saved the night.
Well, I don't think anything could have saved the night, but this was good.
It salvaged the ending. How about that?
All right, yeah.
Because you see the terror in Hogan's
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah.
He's behind like 5 people.
Yeah.
Until he finally, tries to get up into his face. But
that's why Hogan was acting brave. Hogan starts acting brave because he knows everybody else is there.
Yeah, but everybody else is like, I'm not taking a beat from this man for you. I'm not your boy over here. Yeah. I know. Hogan pushed Vader, and they had to be separated. And then, of course, at this point, Mean Gene's interviewing Bockwinkel. And Bockwinkel's like, I've had my run-ins with this man, but he's got a legitimate point.
Yeah.
However, his actions here were they were totally wrong. He was going to get this matter solved, and he was going to get this match signed. But Mean Gene's like, the way he went at it was ridiculous. No, I think, honestly, Vader should have come out after the match in the ring.
Vader had enough.
Confronted Hogan out there.
Vader had enough.
How long has he been number 1 contender?
Right.
He's still not in the main event here.
Yeah.
And we're going to wait till 1995 to get this done. And their
so
first
Super Brawl,
right? 95 is Super Brawl. You got 2 months to go.
Yeah.
No, I think that Starrcade, they should have did it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen.
You haven't seen 95 yet.
I did. I just don't remember it. When I watched it again.
When they have the whole WCW versus New Japan Best of 7 series, the triangle match for the number 1 contendership, and then the title match to follow. I mean, the whole New Japan thing was
up until I know what you're saying.
No, screw that. This was worse than
that. This was a horror show.
It was a Stinkfest main event on your biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Of all the pay-per-view reviews we've done so far, I think this is the worst one. I think this might be. It's up there.
It's definitely in the top 3.
Yeah.
Top 2 even.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about, I don't know, maybe that RoboCop one. Or the Asylum match.
I don't know. But either way. Yeah. What else can we say? It was a Stinkfest. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Thank God there was only 8,200 people in the stands.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's a review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.